Welcome to Answers for Living. I am Pastor Dave, and I'm the pastor of Avondale Presbyterian Church. And we're looking at the Lord's Prayer, and today we're going to examine that phrase, "Give us this day our daily bread." Having been a pastor for 30 years, I have heard some people say, "I have never asked God for one thing for myself." Now, personally, I was shocked, and I was sad for them, especially since the Lord's Prayer says that we're to ask God for our daily bread. Now, the first point would be this, that God says, ask Him to give us this day our daily bread. So He wants us to ask Him to give us stuff. Second, the Greek word for bread not only represents food, but it's symbolic of all of our physical needs. So I can ask God to supply all of my physical necessities. Third, God our Father in heaven cares about supplying our physical needs. He wants to provide enough food for us to eat. He wants to provide clothes for us to wear, and He wants to provide a place for us to rest. For the most part, God provides by giving us the energy to go to work so that we can earn money, so that we can buy the food and buy the clothing and pay the rent or pay the mortgage. Moses says that God is giving you power to make wealth. Otherwise, He gives you strength to go to work. But sometimes the Lord answers our prayers in miraculous ways. There's this Bible teacher who I met who went from church to church, teaching in seminars and small evangelistic crusades. He never made much money. And he said that he and his wife would pray every day the Lord's Prayer. And they would pray that God would give them their daily bread. Now, they didn't have much, but they had enough. And they were happy. When it came time to retire, he was in Texas for his very last week of meetings. And at that time of the week, when the end of the week finished, he and his wife were invited out to dinner by one of the church members. And at dinner, the couple presented the minister and his wife with a set of keys to a brand new house. It was their gift to this Bible teacher for all the years of serving God selflessly. This minister believes with all of his heart that God knew they needed a place of their own, and when the time was right, He gave them their place to rest their head. What a miraculous provision of daily necessities. Now, personally, I've seen miraculous hand of God in my life providing for my needs. When I lived out in Wisconsin, we were at a point in time in our life where I didn't have a job, and we had finally run out of all the money that we had, and we were down to one little bag of corn in the freezer, and I realized we were in a desperate situation. And so I prayed something like this: Lord, I've been faithful in my service to You and faithful in my giving to You. We are without food and money. Now I need You to be faithful and provide for our daily bread. I hadn't finished praying, but the doorbell rang. I went to the door. There was a young teenager there, and she said to me that her mother worked for Mary Kay, and she always gave her bonus check away to people in need. And her mother had prayed and asked God who to give the money to, and God had laid her on her heart to give it to the Bergstroms. And she handed me an envelope with $167 and some change. Guess what? That day, Jeanette and I went grocery shopping, and we filled our refrigerator and our pantry with food. God miraculously met our needs for daily bread. Now, whether God provides miraculously for your needs or He provides through our work, He is the provider. Be thankful and go ahead and ask for your needs to be met.